have a son who's got Down syndrome. I figure if I can run 100 kilometres, then I can do whatever I can to be a good dad for him. So I'm using that as my motivation to get me through the run and to get me through the training.
I'm quite fearful of that thought of not finishing. In some respects, a guy that's struggling with his business and still fighting to keep his family in a good place, the last thing I need is to come away from this challenge broken.
I was told I was never going to be able to run again, and I was devastated.
I'm having like sort of flows of nerves, and like just before a little bit of self-doubt crept in, I thought, oh my God, where did that come from?
Go hard, go long, survive to the end. Mate, it's just a challenge, and it's beautiful out there. It's just really beautiful.
I just think it's one of the most purest sports, you know, it's just taking us right back out there.
The worst thing, you might crash, but that comes very late in the day and you get through it, so.
Test of endurance as well, test of stamina, you know, put yourself to the test against the environment and see what you're made of.
It's 5 a.m. on a crisp weekend morning in Australia's famous Blue Mountains wilderness, 2 hours inland from Sydney. Milling around the Fairmont Hotel is an unusual crowd. More than 1,000 runners, readying themselves, checking and rechecking gear. But ahead is no ordinary run. Rather, they face 100 kilometres of off-road mountain running, through landscapes as grueling as they are spectacular.
Well, here we are. It's race morning. It's probably about 5:30, 5:45. Feeling pretty good, very excited, very keen to get out on the trail. I'm really just keen to get going.
I'm feeling very nervous at the moment. All of the confidence I had 3 days ago seems to have completely dissipated.
Yeah, a little bit sleepy still here at the moment. It's going to be a long day, so I'm trying not to wake up too much too quick. There's plenty of time to be awake for the rest of the day. I'm nervous, and I think that's why I'm feeling sleepy, actually.
I've just got huge respect for anyone who, is standing on the start line to start with, because, it's a really daunting prospect, 100 kilometres through this kind of environment.
Each runner must climb 4,500 vertical metres. Their bodies will run out of muscle energy within 2 hours of setting off. Some will take up to 28 hours to complete the course. That is, if they finish it all.
It's the most brutal thing I think I've ever experienced in running.
The North Face 100 attracts the best ultramarathoners in the world.
Scenery like this, it's just blown me away when we've been out sort of checking out the course. So it's going to be really, really special just taking part in the event.
Last year, I felt really good, then I felt really bad, and then I felt really good again. The good parts didn't last long enough, and the bad parts lasted too long. But, that's ultra running.
I'm probably a sucker for punishment to kind of get into ultra trail running. But I think for me, it's almost like an escape. It's a form of meditation for me.
They joined the strongest ever field of local talent seen in the event's 5-year history. All are chasing the coveted golden belt buckle.
I just like challenging myself, putting it out there. Just a great atmosphere, camaraderie. People learn about themselves, I suppose.
Their long events get me out into the places I love to be, which is out in the bush.
And while we know why the elites run, to win, what is it that fires the motivations of everybody else out there? To push through the pain, the exhaustion, to run 100 kilometres in one day.
There is an addiction associated with this. It makes me feel good.
I did a race, Coast to Kosciuszko, 246 Ks, and I spent a week in the hospital after it, and that was my greatest race. Not many people get the chance to do that.
We have got 30 seconds to start.
I love this event. The camaraderie for ultra runners is fantastic. They seem just to not have egos like a lot of top athletes in other sports. You know, people come across the line in first place holding hands. Well, how better can you have? And if it was a mountain bike event, they'd be trying to kill each other.
Early on, local legend Andy Lee, a two-time winner of the race, takes the lead. With international star and race favourite Ryan Sanders in hot pursuit.
I'm not getting any younger, so I've got to try and keep level with the other guys. I overtrained last year, trained too hard. I've backed off a bit. I've used training runs as key or milestone training runs in lieu of racing. They've been really good.
Not too far behind the elite runners is Gordy Kirkbank Ellis, who was first inspired by a friend giving him a book by Dean Karnassus called Ultramarathon Man.
I read it and got up that night and went for a run and just haven't stopped.
8.5 k's in, heading uphill, so pretty good neck.
It wasn't long before Gordy was aiming to compete in the North Face 100.
My friend said you should enter the North Face and help me write a training plan for it. And it was just the toughest thing I'd ever done.
Gordy was a professional rugby player and boxer, but his career was coming to an end.
I had a pro fight, then I got too old. Ultra running's filled that gap.
By checkpoint 1, Ryan Sanders of South Africa is out in front, followed by Brendan Davies and Andy Lee.
There's water, there's food, whatever you like here, and then you're going to keep going through those checkpoints and down the road.
Leading the women's race is two-time winner Australian Beth Cardelli. For most competitors, however, entering is not about winning. Tim Gray is running to help his best friend's son.
Jasper's got severe cerebral palsy. My best mate and I agreed that the only way to help get his son the treatment was to stage some big and silly event.
Everything that must go down must go up twice as far.
Tim's not a runner. Tim's built like a breadshit house. He's about 100 kilos. He's 5 foot nothing. But he's got a big heart muscle. I said to him, Tim, you come and do the North Face 100, mate. It'll be the best day of your life.
When I first heard about the North Face, I thought you would have to be mad, barking mad, to do something like this. And even today, I still can't fathom anyone running 100 kilometres. It's perhaps a concern. At the end of the day, anything I can do to help get some extra funds for Jasper to get another round of this treatment, there may be some hope.
The race is also helping Tim deal with the stress of his struggling business.
Recently, in the last 2 years, the financial situation in Australia has become so bad. Times have been not just a little bit tough, but very, very tough. That can really mess with your head, and being able to get out there and train for something that's out of that rut is incredibly healing. The more that you train your body, the more agile your mind is, and the more able you are to cope with challenges in your personal life or in your business life.
As elites approach checkpoint 2, a drama is unfolding.
There's no markings, mate. Someone's just taken all the markings away. From where to where? Where's Bell Ridge? Turn off into here. Yeah, someone's taken them away, man. Everyone's going to go to that dead end. That's a dead end there. That just goes to someone's driveway.
The missing markers mean that a group of runners have taken a wrong turn. Among them is top seed Jez Bragg from the UK, who was running in 7th place. After a 5-kilometre detour, he has dropped to 25th place. Can he still come back to win?
There was certainly plenty of drama. Heading to checkpoint 2 with no course markings, nothing at all, we just carried on. Someone had clearly taken him away because everywhere else on the course, you know, you just couldn't put a foot wrong just because it was so well marked.
Way back in the field, two friends from Sydney, Matt Want and Matt Johnston, have taken on the challenge of a lifetime.
I wondered how far the rubber band could go, and 100k sounded like a good test.
The trainer said to me one day, "Have you considered doing a 100k run?" I said, "No, why would I do that?" One of the big drivers for me to get into this was the birth of my son. When he was born, we had the diagnosis a few days later that he was Down syndrome. I just sit on the floor and hug him and cry. I figure if I can run 100 kilometres, then I can do whatever I can to be a good dad for him. After the initial shock of, no, why would I do 100 kilometres, it came down to, well, no, hang on a minute. This is something that's achievable. I believe that if I can do this, I can do anything. That's why people do these sorts of events. They don't do them because they're a cakewalk. They do them because it teaches them something about themselves, and I'm intending to really learn something about myself on this.
I basically was quite heavy at that point and ended up being diagnosed with a sleep apnea, and that's why I then started looking at alternate ways to actually not have to rely upon a machine to breathe for me for the rest of my life. This is the first North Face 100 for either of us.
My largest run was a training run, was 46.3 kilometres. That's the largest I've done.
And 50.8 for me. And I was pretty ruined at the end of it. Like, running's fairly new to both of us, really. So we're doing as much as our bodies are actually letting us. When it starts shouting too loud, you back off a little bit.
This is what we've done, and this is the training we've done, and now it's time to put it on the road and run.
Here we are at checkpoint 1, a little bit outside of time schedule, but still feeling pretty good. A bit of traffic here at the checkpoint, still looking pretty good. The weather's fairly clear, and we'll just keep going and see how we go.
I hurt my back about 5 years ago, and I ended up herniating 3 discs and straining my SI joint. From that afternoon, my life just changed. I was told I was never going to be able to run again, and I was devastated. That's where I got very depressed and put on a lot of weight because there was nothing I could do but lie around and console myself with the food. I also have Asperger's, and with Asperger's you have a lot of anxiety, especially around people, and unfortunately most of life is around people. When running was taken away from me, I really struggled, and it got to the point where I couldn't leave my house because I had so much anxiety. And it wasn't until I had a physiotherapist tell me that she was going to help me run again that I eventually was able to leave the house again. I started to run again. I just loved it so much, and at that time I could only run a minute at a time, and I'd hide in the bush in case if someone saw me. I'd stop running because I was quite, bigger. I was like 25 kilos at least heavier. Then I thought, I wonder if I could do a marathon, and I signed up to the Sydney Marathon, and I did that about 4 months later.
Just past checkpoint 1. How you doing now? When I met Naomi, she was a true inspiration. We both sort of became really close because we both struggle with mental issues. I've had extreme anxiety in the past and suffered from depression on and off, and also had gained weight because of that. She really inspired me to get out there and have a go. I remember when she first suggested we do a marathon, I actually got really cranky and then cried. My first reaction was, that's a stupid thing to suggest. 6 months later, we were running our first marathon together and really enjoyed the experience. And here I am waiting to conquer my first 100k challenge.
I'm very nervous, and normally I like to be over-prepared. Now I'm under-prepared, and so that makes me a little bit more nervous, but I've no doubt that I'll do it because I'm very strong-minded.
big attraction for ultra running is the trail aspect, is the mountain environment, and just getting off the roads, off the pavements, and just like going out for like a long day out, you know, wherever you are in any part of the world, just get the map out, plot, you know, like a huge, great, epic route, and just set yourself that challenge for the day.
That move from the built-up environment where you're spending every day when you're working, traffic, smog, noise, out into a place where it's tranquil. It kind of resonates with, I think, who we're meant to be, to kind of seek that peace.
I think a lot of people, they're too scared to follow their passions and actually live out their dreams. And I think through trail running, I'm getting to travel the world and getting to meet loads of new people. And it also really challenges me physically and mentally. I think ultra running just has taught me so much about myself and also about life in general.
The thing that makes the North Face, just that little bit different is the terrain. I mean, it's all well and good to say it's a trail run. It's 100 kilometres to start with. That is a long day on your feet. But then to do it up and down the valleys, up and down the Golden Staircase, Giant Staircase, Nelly's Glen, down through Lura Forest, climb up from basically Mount Solitary to the King's Table, and I mean, that climb alone is 8 kilometres and 700 metres in elevation change.
You're at the top of these stairs, get some fuel, called the Stairway to Heaven. There's nothing heavenly about it. Let me tell you that for free.
It will be dark by the time that we finish. To be coming down the Giant Staircase as it's coming on dusk, you need to use one hand on the hand railings and one hand on the rock to get down because your legs hurt and they don't want to walk downstairs anymore and you've got 800 more to do. You have to be careful about your footing, and it's a very mental game by that stage, and it's you and your headlamp and the run.
This is Nelly's Glen steps. Just gotta keep working these puppies as fast as you possibly can.
You're always trying to beat yourself. You're trying to do better than you did last time. It's like a sufferfest. I think when it boils down to it, who can suffer the most? Who suffers the most does the best.
Just pure good hurting, nothing else.
It's steep hills, steep up, steep down. It's a difficult race.
It was a real wake-up to see runners already pulling out with injuries. They'd slipped on some of the thinner trails, and you're just like, wow, hang on, you really do have to keep your mind about you or else you're going to be limping off the course.
As you can see, it's the 30k mark. Not doing too badly. Knees are pretty sore, downhills are getting hard.
At 54 kilometres, Checkpoint 3 is the hub for supporters. It's the first chance since race start for supporters to see their runners, to help them refuel and to offer some much-needed moral support. The atmosphere is festive. Australian Beth Cardelli is still in front. Her family and supporters are there to lend a hand before she quickly continues on with the race. Gordy comes into Checkpoint 3 looking strong. His son Marley and wife Denise are there to greet him.
I'm away from the family on the weekend. Every Saturday I'm out for a long run. I'm away early in the morning. Denise has Marley, our son. And in the evening she does everything with him as well. I come in tired at 7, 8 o'clock. Usually just want to sit down, have something to eat, and then get on with training. It's not good for family life.
Ever since I've known him, he's been up at 5:30 in the morning, and he's generally not back until 8:30, 9 o'clock in the evening. And he's got to squeeze running in. We don't see him very much.
There's been instances where people have called me up and said, do you want to go out for dinner? No, sorry, I can't. I've got to go for a 3-hour bike ride tonight. Or do you want to come round for a couple of beers? Well, I may come round, but I'm not drinking beers and I'm not eating pizza.
I remember I was out running with Gordy about 2 months ago, and a flash flood had come through, and the water was going so through over these steps that we couldn't find the steps, and we were up to our chest in water wading through massive torrents going through, holding our packs. And I just pissed myself because it was such a ludicrous thing to do. And it's part of the beauty of trail running as opposed to just, you know, going around the block.
It's a fairly large commitment. When we're all waking up in the morning, he's out running. When we come home at the end of the day, he's out running, you know, and he runs a small business. So even that, you know, he has to stop in the middle of the day and go out for a run or run stairs or run hills. So whenever you talk to Tim, he's running.
Finding myself getting away with emotions from everything from despair through to, oh my God, this is awesome. Thinking about Jazzy and her family and highs and lows that they've been through. So quite a wild ride.
Steep climb. It's hurting. It's good though.
Running has definitely changed my life for the better. Running just seems to completely change how I feel inside.
Running is so important, I think, for people that have mental health issues, who have any kind of anxiety or anything like that, depression. I don't think people understand how much running will do for you. I've made friends, and I haven't had real friends most of my life because it scares me and I'm different and I can't do things that everyone else does.
Right, so we're down off Narrow Neck now. We're 31 k's in, and my left knee is now giving me a fair bit of grief. Every now and again it's swinging. I'll keep walking. I've got some painkillers, I'll give those a go. First time in my life, believe it or not, I'm actually following the plan. Doing the perfect pace, holding back, I'm feeling okay.
Lost trainer was still there. That was just, it's amazing how painful that is.
There's no way I'm not going to finish it. I'll drag myself over the line. If I get into a struggle patch, I'm going to think about my training. I'm going to focus on how far I've come and what a huge achievement it is. It's been a dream for 2 years of mine to do this race.
Ryan Sanders is leading the pack, followed by Vagin Armstrong, Mick Dongis, Brendan Davies, Matt Cooper, Andrew Tuckey, Grant Guys, and Andy Lee.
It's got the worst back cramps. And one of those things, I'm sitting down, just rampant limp dog go.
Well, the things that do stop people finishing the North Face is their nutrition. They're not eating the right amount of food. They're not drinking the right amount of water. They're having too much. They're having the wrong food.
So bloody hell it passes.
If you don't have your nutrition on song for an event like this, you can be in all sorts of trouble.
It is very hard to drink enough. If it's warm at all, a guy like me, about 100 kilos, I should be drinking a litre of water an hour. I can't do that when I'm running.
If you're not fueled and you're not hydrated, regardless of how much you want it, the body will just shut down.
Approaching Iron Pot Ridge, competitors pass through a spectacular and spiritual part of the course, where they do an out and back loop along the ridge.
My family were born in this area, so you have clans in your Aboriginal communities, and the pathways that we sit on here are the pathways that my family personally walked for thousands of years. So it's just a beautiful piece of place to sit. It's play clapsticks and remember my ancestors.
We're about another 2Ks into the race. Oh.
You've got to be prepared. You're going to get out of it what you put into it. A lot of it's what's going on in your head. If you really want to finish this race, you'll finish it. Nothing will stop you.
Oh, trying to get the shit out of my system.
Beth Cardelli is still leading the women's race, followed by Julie Quinn and Shona Stevenson.
As you can see, we're now at the end of the out and back section. There's two things that are important about this. One, the spectacular view. Two, you can read the distance there, it's 42.35. which means it's bigger than 42.195, which means this is now officially ultra distance and longer than a normal marathon. Not that I think that I won't finish, but even if I don't, that means today that I've covered ultra distance in an ultra event, and I'm happy with that.
I'm fighting my hip muscles and piriformis are still tight. I'm having a battle to keep my hips forward so that I don't win.
You really got to have your psychological state really sandbagged when it really gets hard and every part of your body is screaming for you to stop.
Somehow I managed to, feels like I pulled a muscle in my diaphragm. It's like a stitch that I just can't get rid of.
You need to have a lot of belief in yourself and your fortitude.
It's just, I've been walking for about, okay. The pain in my stomach from that shit. I'm just getting overtaken by a lot of people. Quite soul destroying, but hopefully this passes.
Off the back of Iron Pot, down that steep section is just so difficult. It's so steep and there's no real trail. And at that stage I realised my knee was really starting to hurt. I actually had to go down the trail backwards.
Gordy is finally coming good after suffering a rough time. He is now on the comeback trail.
I vomited like 7 or 8 times, but I've come good. I was just up and down, half the field past me, but I'm going to pull him in now. It's on. 40 minutes off my splits, but you watch this. It's happening. This is the North Face. Yeah. Go, brother.
Ryan has gone through each checkpoint in record time and is on target to beat the race record.
There's a great mutual respect amongst the elites between me and the guy who's going to finish last. It's just anyone who's brave enough to start and to take part in an event like this, has got my utmost respect. I never envy the guys who are towards the back of the field and are out there for like twice the amount of time. I almost can't comprehend that. Whether you're first to last, everyone is setting themselves the challenge of running 100 kilometres, so everyone deserves a huge amount of credit just for doing that.
Knocking them off, baby. They're coming. 1, 2, 3.
Leading the race pretty much from the start, Sanders has annihilated the competition and is just 3 minutes outside the course record as he approaches the finish line.
Do we have him coming? Can anyone see? Here he comes! And here he comes! Ryan Sanders from South Africa, the 2012 North Face 100 winner. Here he is, well done! Private 9 hours 22 seconds.
Yeah, super stoked to kind of come back. Last year wasn't the best race for me. I really battled, but I don't know, that mega long stretch seems to kill me every year. Like, yeah, I took a bit of strain there, and that final climb's quite hectic as well. But at least I had a big lead going at the final checkpoints. I could take this last stretch fairly easy, or I didn't have to kill myself too much. But yeah, a really great day, awesome weather, and yeah, thanks to you guys for putting in such a great event.
Badgen Armstrong of New Zealand is the clear second place getter. 25 minutes behind Ryan. For him, it's been a dream race.
It's a pretty tough last few Ks. You drop all the way down and then have to climb all the way back up again. And you never really know where the finish is at these type of events. So I was always looking out for it, and you know, I was super happy when I arrived here.
In third place is Australian Andrew Tuckey, who sneaks over the finish line under the coveted 10-hour barrier.
I was probably in 10th kind of early on and just started to move through the field a bit. Yeah, just really slowly because everyone's quite spread out, so you go for like an hour, don't see anyone.
In fourth place is Brendan Davies of Australia.
Battled out with Arjun for about 50 kilometres and then this guy flies past me just when I was having dreams of the podium.
Good on you, friend.
One place better than last year. Thanks.
Well done, Brendan.
Brilliant result.
While the champagne flows and the sun sets on the race for the elites, for most, the battle has just begun.
Here we are at 46k, so I'm still 8k short of checkpoint 3. I just had to restrap the knee. It's getting dark now, so I'm going for the head torch. I'm not sure how bright this will be. But yeah, I'm still going.
My mate Poppy's in front of me. I want to catch the bastard. He had 20 minutes on my last checkpoint.
As night closes in, most of the runners are still spread out between checkpoints 3 and 5.
The last checkpoint QEB, me and Poppy.
Hey!
Hey,
Go the Kiwis!
Go the Kiwis! Boys are on fire!
They call checkpoint 5 at kilometre 89 the car crash zone. This is where runners find themselves seemingly so close to the goal of finishing, yet often so far away.
It's the most brutal thing I think I've ever experienced in running.
I had a friend, Lit Nixon. He pulled out 2 kilometres from the finish. That last, he got to 98 Ks and pulled out. And he was running a really good time, he just had enough.
You know 11 k's to go, mate. You're going to make it, aren't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In terms of how I'm feeling at the moment, I felt better, I would admit. But look, I'm doing all right. I know there's only 11k, so I reckon I'm going to do it.
Matt Johnston appears out of the darkness, but his friend Matt Want is nowhere to be seen.
I made the decision to pull probably 3k's out from the checkpoint. As I was walking down the section there, I knew I just was trying to think of how to motivate myself and
and could I push through this? And the pain was a stabbing pain in the knee, and I just went, I know this isn't good. I started thinking about my little boy, and it wasn't working anymore, and I just started to cry. I thought maybe I'd let him down and things like that, and then I thought, well, no, this is a 100-kilometre event. Not everyone can do this. There is still massive amounts of takeaways. I mean, the growth that I've had as a person and as, you know, effectively an athlete now, as a 36-year-old IT guy. 54 kilometres is a long day on your feet.
Although Matt Want didn't finish, he still managed to raise a lot of money for his charity.
So my wife said, look, you've done great for the charity that supports him and supports us. You've done great for him. She said, the changes in you are great. She said, stop complaining and saying you didn't do well, because you did.
Back at checkpoint 5, Matt Johnston is still battling on.
Doing really well.
I gotta go. Here we go.
You've got to have sit and have some food.
I might as well not started if I didn't do the last 11.
The last 10 Ks is dark, usually it's a bit slippery, a bit wet, it's really bad underfoot, so they've left the last 10 Ks of the race to the nastiest. You smack your head on the rocks, you fall over, it's just really bad underfoot. It depends what's going on in your mind. How much do you want to finish?
We're 89 Ks down. Jeez, there's just brave people everywhere, you know, soldiering and it's very inspiring. It's such an emotional roller coaster rides on this run. Just thinking about it. I'm so close to the end, and it's been such a treat. I've got my little girls here.
It was such a ludicrous thing to do. You know, I no longer think that, you know, there's something wrong with you for not finishing this. It's just such an insane distance.
Such a trooper, honestly.
It's nearly over. It's time to knock this rest over.
After a short final rest, Tim Gray also heads out into the night. Earlier at the finish line, Matt Cooper is chased home by Grant Guys of New Zealand for 5th and 6th place. Minutes later, Jez Bragg crosses the line in an incredible 7th place, after having had the bad luck of getting lost due to missing course markings.
I was in like 25th place, having been in like 7th or 8th place. It's just, oh man, I could have cried. But you know, I've come a long way, and you know, I'm not the sort just to drop out when something goes wrong, you know.
In the women's race, Beth Cardelli wins and sets a new course record of 11 hours, 18 minutes. She also takes 16th place overall, proving that in the world of ultra-distance running, women are a force to be reckoned with.
You know, you have your dramas, you have your ups and your downs, but that's all part of it.
Behind her is past winner Julie Quinn.
I guess the first half I found really tough. If you'd asked me about 30 Ks, I would have said I'll wait for under 14 hours. After I went through the 50K checkpoint, I started to feel really good.
On trail, they may be fierce rivals, but Beth and Julie remain good friends off course.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with Beth. She ran really well today and had a fantastic race.
After a long battle, Gordy comes into the finish line with longtime friend and ultra runner Daryl Robbins. Having competed together in many ultra races, Gordy makes the decision to cross the line alongside his friend instead of running ahead.
Hi, brother.
Oh, it's fantastic, Bobby. Awesome. I got about a K out from one checkpoint and I started vomiting and stomach cramps, and it was horrible. So I thought, I'm going to pull out. I thought, no, I'm not. I want to do this, I want to do that. But I can't. I've told all these people that I train, this is what you do. You suck it up, you hang on, you find a way out of it. And I came out of it. It just took an hour and a half. It was just an hour and a half of hell.
Reflecting the camaraderie the event inspires, friends Naomi and Jody cross the line together. Just as in training, they have stayed together for the entire race.
It was such a hard run. Yeah. It was crazy. Yeah.
But we were expecting it.
Yep.
Definitely expecting it not to be easy. To be really tough, especially being undertrained, hey?
Yeah, definitely.
But not being so tough so early, that really messes with you mentally.
Yeah, I ran 7 Ks with the stairs and stuff. I thought my quads are already trashed.
I was worried. She looked like hell.
It's amazing how far you can push your body. We're going to take so much confidence away from running the North Face. It's probably the most difficult race I've ever done. I know how much I can push myself. So, yeah, in future, you know, sky's the limit.
Pretty local here. Well done.
Matt Johnston has finished. He struggled through the last 11 kilometres to arrive at the finish line of his first 100-kilometre event in 19 hours and 26 minutes.
About 20 Ks ago, I started getting really bad butt chafing. I can't tell you how painful that is. I'm really pleased about this. With the exception of the last 20 Ks, I ran all the flats and all the downhills. And when I realised I couldn't run down anymore, I started running up hills. I've got an understanding now of what it means to run 100 Ks. Before this, I couldn't fathom it. Now I know you've just got to be an absolute nutbag. You know, I've got Jasper and people that have donated to Jasper, and there's no way I could not finish it. I'm just not loving the pain.
Today was to beat Daryl, and I knew he hit 25 minutes on me, and I just worked and worked, so I knew he would be running the hills, he'd be doing the fast downhills, and I just gave it everything. I've never given it so much. When I caught him kind of pass, I wanted to cry. Yeah. So, pretty good. There's this ongoing rivalry between me and Daryl, and I just wanted to run in with him. Sometimes it's not so much about winning. It was pretty awesome running in with Daryl. It was, yeah. It's just, loved it.